Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts, like the chart behind me, which is of Polestar Automotive. I also have a few other tickers that were requested in the comments, including WW, which is WW International, as well as Fortinet, ticker symbol FTNT, but I'm happy to take requests. I did get one in the chat from Samuel looking at Barnes & Noble, which I assume is Barnes & Noble ED, education. I had looked up Barnes & Noble, and that looked like it was delisted. So but yeah, happy to take requests over the course of the next hour, maybe a little bit longer, just going over the charts. And I do this every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Just getting started a little bit late tonight. I just had some food I was cooking, and I just finished right at 9, so I wanted to eat before starting. But yeah, Barnes and Noble. I'm just curious, yeah, there's like Barnes and Noble here, but this is, delisted, I believe. So I was just curious about that. Going back to 2019. So I guess they're just listed as Barnes & Noble ED. And Kevin, what's up? KWE. I'll add that. KWE. And AQMS, is that right? Aqua Metals, cool. Yeah, happy to go over that as well. Yeah, I should have time. I try to go through them in order based on the live chat, and so I'll probably start with Sam's. Sam says that Barnes & Noble short squeeze a thing. I see 16% short interest, but Friday it says 25 million shares were shorted. Have you taken a look at that one yet? So I did just do a video on penny stocks, and one of them was Barnes & Noble ED. I think it's towards the end. I did put timestamps on it so you can skip right to it. Yeah, I'm like, of all of the penny stocks, really like the last one on that list, Tupperware, ticker symbol TUP. It looked really good to me. Like it had potential to continue moving, whereas the others, I felt like they might pull back before maybe the next leg up. And so, yeah, Barnes & Noble, I mean, for this one, I just drew this downtrend today based on responding to somebody's comment that Barnes & Noble looked similar to the GameStop chart. Well, I'd have to disagree with that, just considering that like GameStop, I mean, maybe this should be the same time frame. Let's see, over here it's March 2022. If I look over, yeah, so I guess, let's see. I mean, there is still kind of like this channel here, but GameStop just broke out massively. And I feel like with GameStop, it's more of this falling wedge within a bigger falling wedge. And so that's what I feel like GameStop is. But then looking over at Barnes & Noble, it's a different time scale, I believe. Let's see, this, yeah, just has a different history. This is on the weekly time scale. Actually, no, I guess they do go back, same amount of time. But this one, it's just been like this is the weekly time scale. It's just been residing in this channel for quite some time. And so looking at on the daily time scale, it basically, I just need to zoom in a bunch. It somewhat got rejected from the midpoint of this channel. So the channel is based on a standard deviation of the price action. I don't set that. I just set the beginning and end of it. And yeah, it closed right around the middle of that channel, also right around the 382 of this Fibonacci retracement. And this downtrend, let's see, I had probably drawn that a while ago during the live stream, and just thinking that that seemed like a level of support, kind of got a fake out break below it, and then it gapped down. So I think it would be encouraging if it could consolidate around current price and then go higher. And as far as like a short squeeze goes, what I've noticed in the past, and I could be wrong about this, if something moves up a lot on a Friday and it continues up in the after hours, it's likely to continue up into Monday, at least in the pre-market. But since it started to go down in the after hours, that could suggest that, it may be pulling back, maybe having topped. But I also do think that what happens in the after hours can kind of fake people out. Considering that it went up over 150% on Friday, I could see it pulling back during pre-market to kind of fake people out. And let's see, pulling back to like 41 or 42, really, 41.99 cents. That, is just below the 382 here. So maybe it'd pull back to the 50% level, which is like 37.57 cents. So I could see it, kind of being like whatever's happening in the pre-market, I could see the opposite happening at market open. So if it is red in the pre-market, maybe that's a good dip buying opportunity, but maybe it's just that this run is over and it might be settling out. And so I did go over some of these levels in that penny stock video. So I'd check that out. And then let's see, KWE, I'll go over that. And I'm going to delete them off of this list as I do address them. I do see, let's see, I'm just making sure. Yeah, so I'll go over Kevin's next. Hey, Park, what's up? I will go over GameStop. I appreciate you being here, Kevin. Thank you for the like and subscribe. And Jose, what's up? Which stocks are we talking tonight? Whatever you want. Happy to take requests. I will add, Jose, I will add TPET to the list. And the ones that were requested on there before, I will try to get to them as there's time, but I'm just going to focus on the requests that are in the live chat. Yeah, and Timmy and Park regarding GameStop. Yeah, I saw it was at $24 as far as Robinhood overnight trading goes. So that looks pretty good. And Park, I will add Canoo as well. But yeah, I'm just going to start going down the list, and I will start with KWE. So this is Kwesst Microsystems, another penny stock. Could have been on the penny stock list, dang it. But yeah, I guess it wasn't a mover. If it was a mover, it was to the downside. But let's see. Secures contract with Canadian Red Cross. Seems like good news. It's from a couple days ago. I guess they had earnings. That's why it dropped. Let's see. This is all-time lows that it's hitting. So I usually like to try and find like a downtrend that could suggest the bottom's near. So maybe this is probably not going to be encouraging, but if I just do, a rough connection from over here, this is January 27th of 2022 to the low over here, December. That was December, not January, sorry. And then December 18th of 2023, just being approximate. So, that's like the lowest. I could adjust this. Maybe I want to adjust this to the penny. So the low here was 215. So I'll adjust it here. And so moving this pivot point lower will make the line a little bit higher, maybe a little bit more encouraging. And the pivot low over here was 62 cents. So yeah, this also pulls it up a little bit. So I think that's good. And so, yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, I guess that, I forget what I did with that pivot point. But if it moved it up, it moved the downtrend down. So that doesn't look so great as far as that as acting as support. Maybe, though, with the lows over here, maybe there's something. And maybe I want to do a parallel channel. I don't do parallel channels enough. I think that they can be pretty useful. So I'm just connecting with like the rough lows over here. And, I just want it to, yeah, it's probably not that significant. But yeah, so what's probably better than me doing either of those is just doing a, not parallel channel, but a trend channel. And so we'll just look at this, really just coming from the gap down, like the move after the gap, and just extending it super far into the future. And I don't like the white lines of it, so I'm going to remove those. And so we can see how price has been trading within that. So it does seem like the midpoint has, prices hung out around there a good amount, acted as resistance here, support over here. Price is well below it. But, with that being said, there is somewhat of, like here in the red part of the channel, so the bottom half, it does look like, price pulled down here, but then came up to like the midpoint, approximate midpoint of the red portion of the channel. And so that was resistance. And so if I do, let's see, this is just somewhat hand wavy, but that's not really approximately the middle, but let's just see. Right around there. Just doodling on there, just approximately the middle of the red portion of the channel. Seemed like resistance over here. Maybe it acts as support over here. And so if that's the case, I could see price dipping down to like 27 to 28 cents. That would correspond with where that channel is now. Or maybe it doesn't even get there. Maybe it's just approximate. But I could see this pulling back to that point before finding its footing and then making an attempt to break into the blue portion of the channel. But let's see. We could also, let's see, does this look, it's not a double top. So in order to do a, let's see, I'm just thinking like a retracement, that 1618 extension is at, that's 0.07 cents, so I don't think we want to be thinking about that. But yeah, I mean, for me, with this, I would like to see it hold 27 to 28 cents. But it could, let's see. And another good thing, I'm getting better at this myself. But so we have this big down move, large volume, so not that good there. Volume's flattened out a little bit, but volume is still elevated compared to what it was over here. So that would make me think, rather than this being consolidation that would result in a reversal, that it would continue down. And so we saw, I don't always pay attention to the after hours pricing because I tend to look at the daily time frame, but it is up almost 6% in the after hours on Friday, but that's at like 36 cents. So still pretty low. That would be like right around here. And let's see. Yeah, so that's made a lower low in the price, also a lower low in the RSI, lower highs as well, lower highs in the RSI as well. So there's no divergence there. One thing that was suggested by Ben, I don't know if Ben's here. Hey, more money. See your comment. Drift, coin, possible squeeze. Don't miss out, my good people. Yeah, so more money. It likes a lot of things that move violently to the upside. And so you could check out Drift. I'll cover that in a minute, but I'll just go in the order. Actually, I don't know why I'm typing Drift here. I'll switch over to TradingView for that. But I will type in Sundial here, which is JR's request. So I'll add that. I did just do a cannabis overview and I'll also add TLRY because I see a question about that. And one thing that I was thinking about, I always have a hard time, or I've realized I have a hard time doing cannabis stock overviews because whenever I do them, for me, like if I do one stock, it's pretty easy to edit out whenever I fumble with words or, clear my throat, anything like that. Or if I just slip up and repeat myself, take a second take, if you will. Whenever I do a cannabis or like a one ticker video, streamline, just go through it, can edit it pretty quickly. But when I do multi-ticker videos, it's really tough to do that. And with cannabis, I feel like, especially like, I think the ETFs are useful to look at, but then there are also stocks that I don't include that are always requested. And so that kind of makes me feel, just like as making the videos, that there isn't really another sector where I get the feed, like semiconductors. If I do a video on semiconductors, people aren't like, oh, you like, please include this other semiconductor stock. But with cannabis, there's always another one. So that kind of makes me feel like the market's maybe a little oversaturated. I don't expect all of them to survive, maybe. But in the next cannabis stock video that I do, I'll include all of them. I just won't edit it. And so that's kind of a compromise I can make with that. But yeah, I'm going to continue down with the request list. KWE, sorry, I kind of got sidetracked with this. But I think that, yeah, the thing that I've been working on paying better attention to is the volume regarding, is it a bear flag? Is it a bull flag? Is it going to reverse? Since this volume, like while volume has come down relative to this big down candle day, coming down 46.6% on Wednesday of last week. And so I imagine that was, I mean, just following earnings. It looks like earnings were on the 13th and this came down on the 15th. So that's kind of odd. But volume has come down as prices consolidated, but it's still like on Thursday it was lower than Friday, but the volume was still pretty light, 841,000. So not million shares traded, 1,000 share traded. But on the day before this big drop, and like kind of like the normal amount of volume traded is 160,000. That's kind of actually elevated. And so seeing it at 840K, that is still elevated for the stock, for its norm. So that makes me think this is a bear flag. And so I would look for this to come down to at least 27 cents. But yeah, I'm not familiar with the stock, but that's just my thoughts on it, considering that the volume with this consolidation is elevated relative to the prior volume. But, maybe I could be wrong. I mean, see what the price is doing in the pre-market. If it's up 6% in the after hours, maybe it continues. But maybe that's just a fake out. When market opens, it's just going to break lower. But if this is a bear flag, it might take, a week of consolidation before it breaks lower. So, because I feel like that's kind of an amount of time for people to kind of be like, oh, it's consolidated here. It's formed a bottom. Finally, I'm going to add more while it's low, and then it breaks lower just to kind of like psych people out. So I'd be cautious with this one. But I will move this to the DGen list. I'm going to remove it from the request list, move on to the next ticker. And so let's see. The next one, this is also a request from, and I'm going to change this from top chat to live chat, so I should see everybody's requests. And so AQMS, let's look at that one. So I'm going to look at the profile of this one. I find metals, especially with it saying Aqua, being pretty interesting. I actually have a background in oceanography, so I find there's this one company, I forget what it's called, but it was looking for metals at the bottom of the ocean, mining them from the bottom of the ocean. It's pretty cool. From I think it's colloids. I'm not sure exactly. That's not what I studied, but I find that stuff to be interesting. Anyways, Aqua Metals is engaged in business of recycling metals. Is it based in the U.S.? I'm curious about that. A company reinventing metal recycling with its patented Aqua refining technology. It provides a sustainable recycling solution for materials strategic to energy storage and electric vehicle manufacturing supply chains. So I find that really interesting because the thing that I feel like people really ignore with recycling is just how energy intensive it is. How, it's like you have a bottle and you want to recycle it, but you have to clean all of the food, all of the beverage, whatever it is, any contaminants off of it before you can recycle it. So it's just a very energy intensive process. And I think a lot of what we recycle actually ends up getting thrown out. So it just seems like it's kind of like the reduce, reuse, recycle. Like recycle is the third R, not the first R. And largely because it's very energy intensive, wasteful, all of that. But anyways, enough of my rant. So Aqua Metals, ticker symbol AQMS, was down about 0.5% on Friday, so nothing crazy, closing at 43.5 cents, but up 4% in the after hours, so maybe that's kind of encouraging. What I see with this, I could do it with a trend line or, not a horizontal line. or I guess array is what it is technically. Just kind of doing an approximate. I just see it like that. I could also just do a downtrend, probably from like over there. Looks like it's trading within that. And yeah, and actually that does look kind of nice with it, consolidating around that midpoint, getting rejected from that midpoint, struggling to get above, but then breaking well above that midpoint, consolidating above it. And let's actually look at this. How do we know this was not a bull flag, this consolidation relative to the volume? So on the big move up day, we do have elevated volume, but it's lower volume than what we saw over here on this smaller move. So that's kind of a tell that this is not like looking too strong. Then it's consolidating over here. And with that consolidation, volume does come down. But then it's kind of like relative to the normal days, it's kind of similar. But you get this big move up that's breaking higher, bouncing off the top of that channel or that trend. Is that a trend channel tool? Yeah, okay. I don't need to draw it though or anything. Just need to escape. Okay, there you go, escaped. But yeah, so it goes up. And with that up move, volume doesn't really pick up too much. So it just seems like it's not really too strong. Comes down here, tests the bottom of that, and volume actually goes up. So it's been like progressively going up from here. So it's like encouraging here when price is going up, but then when it comes down, forms a bearish engulfing candle, and you have volume tick up. So that kind of suggests that there's weakness there. And then on this day, you don't get a close below this low, but you're back in that channel. And this one is like, yeah, the funeral's over. Consolidation, that's a bear flag, and it breaks lower. And this, you just see, yeah. So, yeah, tough to tell, but let's see. Thinking lower lows here. And you actually have, so you have lower lows in the stock price, but higher lows in the RSI, so that's bullish divergence. But maybe that is reflected in the little bit of up moves that we've seen here. I would like to see it close and hold above 46 to 47 cents. Let's see, what was the high on Friday? 47 cents. So that's above that midpoint of that trend, that channel. But, I do think that getting a close above 47 cents would be good because it's like that's the level that it was rejected at. It wicked up to that level but closed below. So I think getting a close above 47 cents would be good. And even with it being up 4% in the after hours, it's still below 47 cents. So that's what I would look for. And I guess, I tend to do Fibonacci retracements on a lot of stuff. So if I do that coming down to here, just being approximate, it does look like it closed below the 236. So I did draw that roughly, but really no matter how you move it, it opened right around the 236, but then closed below. So that doesn't look so great. So I feel like this is not looking so good, but with its after hours pricing in the being above the 236, which is at 44.91 cents, just approximate, right around 45 cents. So that's a level that we want to be closing above, and we're not seeing that. Getting this big wick above too on Thursday, so that's not looking so great. But yeah, there is still potential that it could, but with this, it having traded in this channel, having been, respecting the midpoint as at certain levels as support, but also getting rejected from it, it might be getting rejected from it now before a pullback to retest the bottom and then maybe make a move to the upside, like getting to around 57, 58 cents. And there might be an ad popping up in a few seconds, but I will be switching over to the next ticker in the meantime. And so that ticker, I believe, is GameStop. So yeah, I'll definitely switch over to GameStop. And so I'm actually going to pull up my phone. I don't have it on the screen. And before I get into GameStop, I guess I will scroll down to see what the other comments are in the live chat. Let's see. So following up on KWE, Kevin says, KWE looks rough, lots of good news. It seems so. I appreciate taking the time to look. Oh, yeah, no problem. And since that's a follow-up, I'll pull it back up real quick KWE. Let's see. Where is that on here? My alphabet skills. Yeah, and so I mean, and that's kind of the thing, you know, like I learned this recently, like with Boeing, just hearing about it and recognizing like how you know when there's going to be a reversal. If there's bad news, like with Boeing, there's like nonstop bad news. If the price is going down, that means it's not over. But once you continue to hear more bad news about Boeing or whatever company and it stops going down, you know, it's like it's kind of immune to the bad news. It's found a bottom. It might be going up because once there's good news, it's taken off. And so like with KWE, if they've been getting good news and price has been coming down, that probably suggests that it still has more room to go before it finds the bottom, because you'd want to see the response of the stock to whatever kind of news to be reflected in that. So if it's good news, you'd expect it to be going up. That makes sense. But if it's going down, it probably means it has further to go. And so, yeah, I see the comment from JR. I don't know if that's, yeah, I will get to TLRY. And so Kevin says, yes, it is. Recycling causes a lot of emissions as well. Yeah, so it's like, you know, there's no like clean solution to the problem of all of the waste that we produce. Recycling is something that's potentially, you know, good, but yeah, it's very wasteful, energy intensive. Lots of insider buying on AQMS, so keep on watch list. And actually, AQMS. Yeah, so, I mean, and so with that being said, before I need to remove it from the list, but I will add it to the DGen list. 47 cents I view as being a key level to get a close above. If it gets that, I think it's going higher, potentially to test the top of the channel around 57 cents, somewhere around there. Maybe it gets a breakout and a hold above it, whereas this was like a fake out. But if it gets rejected from 47 cents, then I would think that it might be doing a pullback to like 37 cents. Maybe a little bit higher, not exactly sure. I mean, because this, I mean, you did see this level here. If I draw kind of like a trend line from that, trying to get it to parallel roughly with the channel, maybe that point, that would be around like 40, 41 cents. Maybe you'd find support there as that level, you know, it's slanted, but that trend line was support in the past. So maybe there's something there. But I think 47 cents is pretty key for it to continue up. And, you know, I think a lot of times with insiders, especially if it's like this book I was reading, or I think I still am reading it. I haven't finished it. I think by Larry Fink, talking about how like if the CEO of a company is buying stock, if, you know, high up insiders are buying a stock, it doesn't really say that much because they're compensated so well. But if like the workers in the company are buying stock, they believe in it, that's a really good sign that it's promising. So I think that's something to consider. But yeah, I will add this to DGen and remove it from here. And I will move on to the next one, which is GameStop. And so with this, I'm going to pull it up on my phone just to see what the price is currently on Robinhood. And so I was just looking at, yeah, so it's up 9% in the overnight, over 9%, $24.25. And so we might be seeing more rallying this week. Oh, this is GOEV. I don't know why I'm looking at the GOEV chart. It starts with a G. I'm so bad. But yeah, so it's above 24. It's above this red line right now. You know, could be fake out pre-market selling, so be cautious of that. But being up 9% in the overnight, which I imagine is pretty low volume, so, you know, maybe that's a factor too. I'm not really that familiar with looking at Robinhood overnight trading, which I think is really just on their platform. But if it's above 24, I mean, we could be seeing more rallies in the meme stocks, whether it's GameStop, AMC. I think Plug has also been moving pretty similar to GameStop. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd look for them to be rallying a lot more. And I just feel like one of Roaring Kitty's tweets, and, you know, look for his tweets tomorrow. If he's not tweeting every 15 minutes at after market open, maybe he's trying to tell us a sign, be patient. We got a pullback, but bigger picture, we've got this big breakout. I mean, I need to switch over to the weekly time frame to show this. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how significant this downtrend is because there really aren't many touch points to it. But it's like going back to that all-time high. We have never been outside of this channel. Maybe, I mean, you could argue you could connect it to the top over here. But I just feel like there's right over here, there's all of these points coming together and it's just launched up. So I really feel like this is going to be going higher, but it might take weeks. And one thing that I've been thinking about in responding to the comments today from whether it's AMC, the GameStop videos, they were pretty popular, that if something rallies up like this, there has to have been some retail traders, some apes who bought up here at 64, 80, it went up to that in the after hours trading or pre-market trading, I believe. Let's see, that was 14th. Yeah, I think it was in the pre-market. And $80.70. There were some people who bought up there. And so for price to be suppressed for a while, I think that allows time for more infighting, for people to lose conviction in the play. And that would result in then people, selling at a loss at the bottom. And then those people would then likely, because that's an emotional response to this pullback, those people would then likely be more likely to buy in as it's rallying again to the next high, FOMOing in. So I could see that if this is suppressed for longer, excuse me, that that's not necessarily going to be too surprising if it takes us a couple weeks to get back up here. But we could also, I mean, if we're starting the week, now it's 24.15, so up a little less than 9% in the overnight trading. But yeah, I mean, I think that this is just the beginning. I think this is just the beginning of rallies that will be taking, I imagine, GameStop to the triple digits this year. Whether that's to just 100 or 200 or beyond, I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, I just think this looks really good. Yeah, above 24 in the overnight trading on Robinhood right now. So I feel good about it. Oh, and I do see a comment on Plug from BMS YouTube. Some of the comments I don't always see right away for some reason. I changed it to live chat, so it's not the top chat. But I do see, after the GOEV request, I do see the Plug. And Plug is one that I think looks very similar to GameStop. I have an embarrassingly small position in Plug. I bought one share on Friday. And but the week before, I had swung 200 shares really based on two covered calls, made like $40, so it was nice. But I should have just held on to the shares. But I used that. I pivoted into more AMC basically, so I don't really feel too bad about it. But let's see. So I see GameStop and. Let's see. Jose says PTET. So I will go over them. This is Trio Petroleum, up 0.11% in the after hours, down about 1.5% on the day. Let's see. What does this look like? So from this, I guess I've looked at this before. Guess it broke below these parallel lines that I've drawn. And I'm just going to drink a little bit of, this is just like a vitamin C. No beer. I do have a little beer that I started drinking before this, but I realized I need something a little more refreshing. And so yeah, PTET, Trio Petroleum. Let's see. I think, the first thing to do, considering that there's been this big up move in a pullback, a retracement, let's do a Fibonacci retracement to see where it might be going to. It looks like that's lined up at the bottom there. And the top is 71.96 cents. So that looks right on there. And we can see, okay, one thing, I don't always include this in my retracements, but the 65% level, that is like, this is referred to as the golden pocket. Pretty common for stocks to pull back to that range. Does look like it did pull back to that range the end of April, 29th to the 30th, bounced up to the 50%, got rejected there, and then has broken below now the 65% level. And so I could see this coming down to the 786. That would be 21.7 cents. And that does seem to correspond with the open from April 2nd. So that was at a price of, let's see, 22 cents. See, I could see this coming down to 22 cents, maybe finding some support there. If we throw up the volume profile, it probably doesn't, actually it does suggest a good amount because of this consolidation here. I was expecting there to be more of a volume shelf here, but it's the volume, you know. So if price traded around here, it might have not had that much volume exchange there. So that's what you see, this volume down here, pretty flat, not too much going on. And so all of that volume really resided over here. So if you have a lot of volume in this area, and then let's see, price goes up, high volume, it goes up higher, but volume starts to cool off. And then as it pulls back, volume comes down. So that's actually kind of surprising. I would have expected it to not gap down, but then it gapped down. So in a down move, volume's flat. And I mean, in this big down move day, volume's up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, just based on the retracement and this volume profile here, there are going to be more buy the dippers around 22 cents because they bought here and they've probably been holding. Some of them have been holding this whole time. And so it's like, yeah, my opportunity to add more, you know, when it comes back into my range. So I feel like 22 cents is likely with it. But I may be wrong. But yeah, I mean, all this volume up here and then it's coming down. That's actually, I don't know, close that. Yeah, let's see. So yeah, I mean, I'm actually surprised because it's just, there's not much volume being traded and it's just like fading down. So that would make me think that there's a reversal soon, but it might fade down to 22 cents. And like to get the volume perspective here, price has gone down. Volume is really low. I mean, it's resided around the 65% 618 level, and volume's been elevated, and then it breaks lower and volume's flat. So, you know, I feel like this could be a fake out. Did put in a hammer candle on Friday. It's quite possible this is the bottom and this is a fake out break, thinking about the volume, but it could also go to 22 cents or maybe the top of that shelf, which is like 24 cents. So keep that in mind, be cautious with it. Yeah, I'm going to move this to, I guess I didn't have it on BNED, but I have covered it before. And I'm going to remove the volume profile. And yeah, let's see, I'm just going to catch up on the comments to make sure that I'm not losing people. Hey, Vincent, what's up? Sure, vitamins. No, it is. It's emergency. Yeah, I was gonna have some like fruit before this, but it had gone bad, so I just needed something refreshing. This is my non-vitamin C. I've almost drank it. It's like a cranberry saison or saison. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But yeah, it's really bad. So I poured this before. I was planning on having one before and one during, but it's just not very good. But gotta finish it. Yeah, it's just like a little bit sour like cranberry, but just, I don't know, like it's not the right amount of hoppiness. It's just hoppier than I expect. And so, and Bella, hey, what's up? Just catching up on the comments. And some of you guys, it's funny, your symbols are just the first initial and happen to be the same color. So let's see. And so watching this reminds me to respect the charts. Yeah, I mean, that's what I try to do. I'm not always right. And sometimes, I think oftentimes I'm more conservative than I should be. I should be more aggressive. Yeah, this is what I do all the time, drink and trade. But I don't really drink too much. There's something else that I partake in. I cover some of the stocks on this channel. But I have a hard time making videos when I do that. But it helps me relax. Oh yeah, and Vincent, I see your comment on ASTI. I see you guys chatting about that a lot in the Discord. And so yeah, if you guys are interested, there is a Discord for the channel. I don't participate in it too much. I usually just like post links to videos or things that stand out to me. But there's a lot of good discussion going on there if you guys are interested. It should be in the description of most videos. I haven't gotten in the habit of putting it in all of them, but yeah. Yeah, if TPET drops, Vincent wants more. And so Kevin says, I'll keep what I got because I'm hoping CEI makes a move, but we'll see. I'll throw CEI up here. I have traded that a little bit in the past, but seems a little risky. I'm just going to type up because the last comment there I can't see from Vincent. If it goes under 20 cents, I'll buy a lot. Vincent says, I like that you are conservative because I like to go big and it keeps me in check. I'm glad. Like, I feel like I'll cover most anything, but as far as what I participate in, you know, I'm in AMC and I'm in GameStop, so you can think I'm a little reckless. But for the most part, the stocks that I hold, I don't really cover that much. Like I hold Luminar, that's one that I hold, and Biora, but most of the stocks are really just like requests that people have. You know, just happy to cover them, go over the charts, helps me get better, helps me be more disciplined. And given that I'm not holding a lot of them, I don't have any emotional attachment to them, so I can just share my honest opinion. And yeah, so, and hopefully it's helpful. And so let's see, I'm just scrolling up to catch up on, I've done TPET, GameStop, GOEV, yeah, so I'll gladly go over Canoo. Canoo has been like a really interesting one for me, kind of like all of these EV stocks I was familiar with back in like 2020, 2021, and you know, got pretty familiar with them then, but I've like kind of disconnected over the past few years. And GOEVs, like Canoo always seemed kind of quirky to me, just like the way their vehicles look and stuff. But I feel like they have like this nice little niche that, you know, that deals with the USPS. I think there's a lot of promising stuff with them. Listening to their earnings call, I feel like that's out of the earnings calls that I've covered, I've gotten the most out of that one. And I just feel they seem like a very good, like people, good company, and that they're making good moves. And yeah, whereas like Fisker, you know, it's I made some videos where I did both of them together, and I just feel like Canoo is in a different league. It's thinking about cars and EVs differently, and I think yeah, in a really good way. So I'm compelled by them, I guess. But you know, as far as the chart goes, I've done this retracement, it looks like. And I guess this line here was based around the earnings call. From this run-up, I want to point to the screen, but you guys can't. You got to see the cursor. So we got this run-up here, done this retracement from that. And so from that, I'd expect to see a pullback levels. But we did pull back to the 786. So this 50% level may not be that relevant. So I'm just going to color this yellow and do another retracement, but a retracement from the top here to the bottom, because then that would suggest levels that might be resistance going back on the way up, retracing to the way up. And so if I do that, so from the high here at $3.49, off by 0.06 cents, please forgive me. And then the low here, oh man, it's blocking it, but it's right around here, so just approximate. But I might actually do that to the penny. I like doing it to the penny. Low, $2.38. Off by fractions of a penny here. All right, so from this, it looks like it's been rejected from the 50% retracement, and maybe that's a top. So what I might do is, this one predicted the bottom at the 786. So I'm going to remove everything but that 786. And I'm actually going to color this orange. I kind of have the system of coloring the Fibonacci's so they don't get too overwhelming. This one I'll color yellow. And it looks like that served to identify the 50% level. So I'm going to remove everything but the 50% level, and the 0 is basically covered by the orange one. So I'm going to exclude that. Just include the 50%. And yeah, well, I'll include the 100%, marks the top there. Don't need the 1618. So that served as a nice predictor for that. And so that's pulled back to the 786, bounced up to the 50, and then now where might it pull back to? So I'm just going to draw this here because it's only going to have a couple lines. I like to have them all on there when I draw them. I'm just not going to include the 65 because that's kind of extra. And so let's see, retracement from the bottom here up to the top. What level? It was the high here, 302. So try to get that just right. It's a little bit off, but it's pretty close. And yeah, I mean, this is a problem that I have. 302 here, and this is 38. There we go. Lock that into place, and I'm going to delete this line. Whoa, did not mean to do that. I like the shading. Okay, so that line's deleted, and we saw a pullback too. On this one, almost the 786, but really the 618, that was held as support, no closes below it. So, yeah, and now it looks like it's going above the 382. So I'd look for if there's a close below 277, so like 276, or close below Friday's low, 270, then that might be going lower, but this could be, and let's see, it's moved up and has been kind of consolidating higher. Volume's been coming down throughout this process. So I think that's good. I would say I'm in favor of this going up, but yeah, tough to say. But I'd say I'm leaning more towards this going higher, maybe to test this uptrend, which is based on the low from the 14th, Pi Day, man, that's a rough day for stocks, and April 12th. So those two pivot points, that's how I get that trend line. I would think that price would be testing that again. So that might be coming up to $3, maybe breaking above $3 to get to like 317. I could see that. So, you know, we'll have to see. But that's what I would lean towards, but I don't have a position in it. And yeah, but I do like the company. I'm compelled by them as far as the EV stocks goes. And there is going to be an ad coming up in like 20 seconds, but I'm just going to catch up on the comments, and then I'll get back to the ticker requests. And so I see, so Vincent's saying that I still have 30K of Kraken. I'll add Kraken to this. I did go over it in the penny stock video. Let's see, Kraken, yep. And then also, I see another one. There's probably an ad, or maybe there's an ad going on. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's probably an ad going on. And let's see, FuelCell, happily go over them. Covered them a number of times on the channel. Fisker up for me. Let's go get that loan. Yeah. Yeah, and I will throw up Fisker as well, which is FSRN, I believe. And I was actually thinking about doing a video on them over the weekend because I saw that it was up to like 10 cents. And it's like, oh, well, you know, maybe it's, you know, coming out of a grave or whatever. But yeah, and I've done QWE, so I'll remove them. This gets too cluttered, and yeah, and then AMC is good at your average. Yeah, so for AMC, I have it in two portfolios. One in Robinhood, that's around 850, and the other one in Webull is around 12. It might be 1160. And yeah, I was like doing like pretty slow dollar cost averaging, but then when it hit $8 a share, I started to get more aggressive with it, and I could have waited, but you know, I saw that as a good value, and I think that price I thought AMC was going to close last week above $8 a share. It might be that doing that this week. But yeah, and then also Vincent's adding let's see, ASTS. So I'll add them. And let's see, and PRST. And then so I will get back to the list, try to make some progress on that. And so the one that I just covered was Canoo. So now I will move on to Plug conveniently right here. This one, I think, like, I made that super cool video. I'm really compelled by the chart for many reasons. And I think that when you get a number of things stacked up in a chart in the favor of whether it's bearish or bullish, then it's like, well, it's probably going that way. If it's just one thing, maybe not. But the thumbnail for that video, I think it's a really cool one. I feel like also, though, I could have saved it for like AMC because they have a circular logo to match the Targaryen symbol or on the chest plate or whatever, breastplate. Yeah, this to me, just I think I have to take a step back on, I think I could do it on the daily, but yeah, it's just like this massive, like what looks to me like a falling wedge. And then in mid-May, always hitting lows. So it's like maybe that's, tinfoil hat lows in mid-May. But also with this falling wedge and coming down to having hit. So let's see, let's go back in time. I'm going to do this on the daily time frame so we can see how far back this goes. This green line, we can see it goes back pretty far. Like there's a lot of history. And so that was like, I believe the first time it hit this high, it hit a high of $2.24. That's the green line. Had never been that high. And I guess it had been. I'm lying. Don't listen to me. But, that was like the breakout from this consolidated and then break above and then retested right around that level here. This is going back to 2014, hitting a low of $2.22. Just seems like a pretty significant level. We can see it held as support here, was resistance here, price traded around it here, resistance here, support here, breaking below it. And then, yeah, this is actually really cool. It's like resistance here, breaks above, pulls back, retraces to the scene of the crime, just approximately, and then goes higher. And since then, I guess we got a little fake out nearly getting to it. But since then, I guess I should say since then as in, oh man, I almost sneezed. I was going to mute the mic. Sorry about that. I didn't sneeze, but that's the funny thing about going live. Can't edit that stuff out. But anyways, going back to like 2019, was testing that, then broke out well above, and now has returned to like $2.25 was the low, the recent low. And it's mid-May. It's not only breaking out of this like massive falling wedge, like over the course of multiple years, just like GameStop, but then after it breaks out, it forms like this other falling wedge, you could say. Connect the bottoms here, that's a falling wedge. Breaks out of both of those, and this is just like the beginning of, in my view, massive upside. Like maybe to fill this gap here at $10 a share, even if it continues higher, like to 18, like $10 is still massive upside. So I just think this chart looks incredible. I want more. Stupid me, in the past it's been, hit lows between the 11th and the 15th. This time, their earnings was on the 9th. That's when I picked up shares. And I just swung a covered call, and I should have just saved them because even now, so what was the open? The open was $2.40. That was what I bought it at. I bought 200 shares at like right around $2.40, I believe. And I just swung them for a covered call at $2.50. I ended up making $44 on it. So it's a nice swing trade. And, but yeah, from there to right now, that I'd be up 35%, would have been up 100% to that upside. So yeah, I mean, and I don't even think it's a swing type of stock. It's just, for me, it's an exercise. And, no matter what, whenever you take profits, you're always going to look at the chart after you take profits and be like, man, I could have made more. And so for me, it's like, well, $44 made is better than $44 lost. But yeah, I mean, I just view that 490 as being nothing compared to what this will be doing. I don't know if it's going to get to 18 this year, but I think that this is very similar to GameStop as far as the chart goes. And so that's kind of why I made that thumbnail with like stabbing the shorts with a meme sword, inspired by Roaring Kitty, of course. But yeah, I just think this one looks great. And drift. So now I will get over to drift, and I will do that. And actually, before I do that, though, I'm going to delete plug from over here so it doesn't get too crowded. And yeah, so I'll go over to drift, which and I could do some Williams percent indicator. If you guys are curious, I can do that. If Ben's here, I'd be happy to do that. But I will pull up Trading View, and I will look up drift. So this is spot Qcoin BitBuy. I don't know what the best one for me to look at, but I will do BitBuy. This one just got listed, it looks like, I imagine. And so, yeah, there's not much data to go off of with this. And I guess this is like the pre-market trading for it. And so if I switch over to like the hourly time frame, let's see, I don't know how to, I'm not too familiar with the time scales on here. Hourly time frame. See, this is crypto, so just going. So yeah, looking at this, what do I see? I could do a retracement from the top here to the bottom here. Got to remove this ad. And wow, that's pretty cool. That's the golden pocket. I didn't know that I had that lined up on it, but that's and I forget his name. I think it's not Ben. It's Paul Sampson on it's the Verified Investing channel. He focuses on crypto. He's the person who taught me, and by he taught me, just like I watch his videos and I learn this stuff, and he talks about the golden pocket a lot. So it might be a very common level specifically for crypto, but this does look like it has pulled up to that golden pocket. So I could see it pulling back from there. But then if I do from this retracement, add the 786. So that is, well, let's see, I gotta trade 786. So do that. And so maybe that is a level to be paying attention to, which is like 44 cents. But yeah, I mean, this could be, at the golden, or the golden pocket as resistance, and maybe it would be pulling back. And maybe it would be pulling back to the 50% retracement, which is at like 37.5 cents. So maybe like if you're interested to establish a position in this, maybe it'd be good to wait for a pullback to 37.5. Because I feel like that will happen. There has been, this consolidation over here. Actually, maybe it wouldn't come back all the way to 37.5, because maybe if it does pull back, it would bump into right around 38, 39 cents, as there has been a good amount of trading around there with this consolidation. And so I could see that as being support, maybe a dip, and then a rally to the next level. But yeah, I'm not too familiar, or I'm not familiar at all with drift, or, and don't really look at stuff that doesn't have too much of a history. But from looking at this, I think it's super cool. It came up to the golden pocket, and I could see it going up to whatever that level was that I said, I think 44 cents, the 786, maybe getting rejected there or blowing past it. I think it really depends a lot on what Bitcoin's doing. And so I will pull up Bitcoin. Oh, wait, This is market cap. This is not what I want. So I will do, let's see which one. Bitcoin US dollars. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Bitcoin's going to go higher, but maybe this is hourly pulled back consolidation. Maybe it's a bear flag, but I don't know. I think it's going higher. And one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to remove myself. I'm going to pull up the Doge chart just because I'm curious to see if there's a little Doge dancing behind me. So 1 second, I'm going to remove myself. And so to do that, I remove this. Okay, and then now I'm going to switch over to Doge and see what we get. This is market cap, US dollars. Do we get a little dancing Doge? Man, I totally saw a little dancing Doge over here last time I pulled this up. Maybe it was not from Binance. Maybe it was from TradingView. Yeah, it's sad. Maybe it's because it like has my cookies that I searched this before. But yeah, oh well. I'm going to come back so you're not wondering who's talking. But yeah, I will. Hopefully that was useful on Drift. But I will come back to this list and see SNDL, JR. Happily do that. But I did just do a video going over my thoughts on it. This one, yeah, I mean, for me, this is the one that I feel like, you know, has looked really good, but just with it putting in higher highs here, with the RSI putting in lower highs, this one makes me, and maybe it's the cannabis sector. And actually, maybe that's a better way for me to look at this. I'm going to delete it from the request list, and then I'll just flip over to the cannabis list. And so here, yeah, I mean, I'm curious to look at, this has a higher high. This is MOSS. This is the non-leveraged cannabis ETF. But it also has a higher high in the RSI. So this does not look like bearish divergence. Whereas SNDL does have a higher high, lower high in the RSI. So this one to me looks overextended, bearish engulfing candle, engulfing the prior 3 trading days. There being this gap to the downside. I think it needs to pull back a little bit more. It might not be extensive. Maybe it finds support at $2.34. But I don't think this one looks, of the 3 that I covered in the video, this one looks most likely to pull back. You know, if these 3 stocks, SNDL, CGC, and TLRY, were to be in a yearbook, I would say SNDL is most likely to pull back. But, you know, I could be wrong, and maybe it's going to continue rallying. And like I say that with everything. I'm most likely wrong with everything that I talk about. And so, okay, so Tilray, I guess I will go back to the cannabis list. Tilray stock going below $1 because of diluting. Let's see. So I thought I saw something about a cannabis stock diluting, but I don't know which one. Sorry, I'm a little dehydrated. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that, I mean, it's never been, like, the closest it's been to $1 ever. Is that right? Yeah, ever has been $1.50. That's the 52-week low as well as the all-time low. I think that this orange uptrend, which may coincide with a retest, not really, that would be going out until July, August of this year. That's kind of long for it to consolidate, in my opinion. But I think that, you know, come down to like $1.83, $1.84, test that as support. But I found like $1.70 to be a pretty compelling level. Maybe they dilute and it comes down to that. Maybe it respects this orange uptrend. I drew that based on the lows over here. So I can give you the exact days if you want. So it's the low of June 21st and the low of November 13th. And I believe both of these were 2023. Excuse me. And it's funny, ever since I started doing this channel, I have to like clear my throat more. I'm not really sure why, but I think just And I talk way more than I used to. All right, so I'm going to go back to the request. Hopefully that's helpful with TLRY. I don't really feel like it's going to go below 170. And if it does, 150 is like the caution tape level. If it breaks below that, then who knows how low it's going to go. And I'm going to mute myself for a second and clear my throat. Excuse me. Still got it though. Let's see. And I'm just going to catch up on the comments. Hey, WS, what's up? I think I added PRST and, well, I sold my plug, but I think it just became a game changer. Wait, so you just sold your plug, you think it became a game changer? So Kevin B says, I like plug. It's great both short and long term. I made a lot off plug. It's a good stock for sure. And WS is saying TLRY 180 would be the sweet spot for me. $180. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think that cannabis has a lot of potential to run up this year. But I feel like right now it's kind of in like a lag time. Like I think there will be probably more excitement for it in the fall when like the elections, like there's more stuff going on with the election, because I imagine more states will be legalizing it. And I think that that's also, the push for reclassifying it as a Schedule 3 drug. I think that's really just like political maneuvering and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I could see more stuff like that, whether it's the presidential election or state elections. I could definitely see there being a lot more going on with cannabis. And yeah, that as well as like EV stocks. And I feel like we're kind of at the bottom right now. I think a lot of this stuff could be rallying a bunch. Or WS, I don't know if you mean $1.80 or 180, but 180, let's see. The highest it's been is 300. So yeah, 180. That is actually like the peaks over here right around 180. So I feel like that's a reasonable price target long term. But over here, 67, that might be a level to break above. But so yeah, I'm just going to scroll up and catch up to the last ones that I missed. And I have been streaming for about a little over an hour. And so I'm going to try to wrap this up soon because I do have to work tomorrow. Let's see. Okay, so I've gone over. In the sake of time, I'm going to skip GWAV because I did include that in the penny stock video. There are timestamps. You can skip to it. I probably wouldn't add much to my thoughts in what I went over in the video. I really just do a Fibonacci retracement, kind of talk through my thought process with it. But I will go over FuelCell for sure. And, oh, I thought I added FuelCell here. Weird. Did I? Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I did. Wow. This is what I think about. I guess I've covered some earnings calls. That's why I have all these comments. And I guess I didn't cover it after the earnings call. So I might. Please forgive me. I can't clear it because it's gotten out of this wedge. This actually looks really good too. Similar to. Not as long of a history, but similar to what I see in plug. Makes sense. Same sector. But also GameStop with this like falling wedge. So I'm just going to try to delete pretty much all these Fibonacci retracements. I think that'll clear up a lot here. Get rid of a lot of this clutter. As long as they don't repopulate or whatever after I delete them. It's like, why does it do that? Let's see. But yeah, I mean, where could this be coming to? What is the bottom? It did have a pretty big move, up 24% on Tuesday with a lot of these other ones. But it does look like, I mean, I have not looked at this chart in quite some time. I drew this downtrend based on these two pivot points. So the low from February 5th and the low from February 26th. That's how I drew that line. I have not looked at the chart in a while. Did get some consolidation around it, break below. it got rejected from that level. So I think it's a pretty important one to be paying attention to. What we could be seeing here is, let's see, I believe this is is this a falling 3 or rising 3 methods? So let's see. I think that'd be a rising 3 methods. No, wait, I don't get what this like resume browsing thing is. That doesn't help me. I just want to Google search it. Rising 3 methods. And so that is this pattern. So you see green candle up, 3 red down, green candle up. So depends on what happens on Monday. It is up 2% in the after hours from Friday. But if there is a big green candle tomorrow, that is a bullish pattern. So let's see. A rising 3 methods is a candlestick pattern that appears during an uptrend and indicates that the market is in a strong buy-side period. And so this is in an uptrend. It did gap up here. If we do see like a bullish engulfing candle, I don't think it has to be exactly, like this. But if we see a bullish engulfing candle, ideally closing above 93 cents, that would suggest that it might be breaking out from this purple downtrend. But yeah, I think that'll have to see what happens with, I don't know, the meme stocks and stuff, if trading violently to the upside. And I might have some good news for you all who are interested in GameStop. Just looking at it on Robinhood. If I show you guys, it will be in reverse, so I won't do that. But I don't know if you can read that. It's it's over $24. It's up 11.44% in the overnight trading, $24.75. So we might be seeing another violent move to the upside with GameStop, with AMC, with Plug. It seems like with FuelCell as well, as it does have a similar pattern here, looking at the bigger picture, having broken out of this. But I guess, one thing that I should consider, I didn't really see it until taking a step back. It broke out of this wedge, and then it's really just consolidated downtrending here. And so what I can do is draw a downtrending channel. I'm going to pick, let's see. There's this gap down here. I'm going to pick the day after the gap down, kind of arbitrary. I'm just going to pick it out going into the future. It's kind of downtrending channel, a little bit arbitrary, but prices resided in there. It's possible there's an ad going on right now. Yep. I'm sorry if there is. But yeah, with this, it seems like, it's kind of battling with some level. So if we get a big green day tomorrow, with GameStop being up about 11.5% in the overnight trading, that suggests to me that we're going to see some more bullish moves. I could see a bullish engulfing candle on FuelCell tomorrow, and that be a rising 3 methods, which is a bullish continuation pattern suggesting that it will be continuing to the upside, and it could be breaking above this purple downtrend. And this purple downtrend for tomorrow is right around like 94 cents. So if we get a close above 94, I think that would be really good for the stock. I'm just going to clear my throat again, so 1 second. Excuse me. It's so weird. But yeah, talking a lot happens. So hopefully that was helpful with FuelCell. I'm going to delete that. And then I'll continue on with the chart. Let's see. Let's see. Yes, respect the charts. And just catching up on the comments, trying to make sure I'm getting all of the and so Kraken, I'm actually going to skip Kraken because I did go over that in the penny stock video just for the sake of time. But there are timestamps for that. Hey, Ricardo, what's up? So hopefully you just saw what I posted or what I went over on FuelCell. Sorry I didn't say hi before. But yeah, I think FuelCell looks good. Similar to Plug, similar to GameStop, GME, breakout from the falling wedge, and GameStop now being up 11.89% for $24.85 in the overnight trading. We're going to see another pretty crazy week for the meme stocks. I wonder if Roaring Kitty is going to be doing 15-minute memes. Great source of entertainment for me at work. Fisker, I will go over Fisker as well. This one I feel like is pretty risky because it is, just been bleeding. But, I was encouraged on Thursday, closed at 50% to the upside. I don't think I can buy it because it's over the counter, OTC. But yeah, it went up 50%, closed at only 7.65 cents. But I remember seeing it, on Friday, it went up to a high of 11.74 cents. So it is making higher highs. RSI is also making higher highs. There's no bearish divergence there. Let's look at this on a shorter time frame. I was thinking maybe there's I was wondering if this pullback might be like the shape of a right shoulder or something, an inverse head and shoulders. But I don't really see that. This, though, is a higher high on this time frame, lower high in the RSI. That's bearish divergence. This is on the hourly time frame. The daily time frame, though, higher high, but it's still a higher in the RSI. So I don't think you should worry about it. We've already seen that pullback effectively. But yeah, for me, I trimmed some, I think ranging from 3 cents up to 8 cents, just so I'm not walking away with nothing. But at this point, the shares that I hold, which is maybe 500 or 600, I'm probably just going to hold them to maybe see if this gap gets filled, and I'd sell 100 there, 29. And then, wait and see. Maybe it goes up to fill this gap at 71.5 or 72 cents. But yeah, this is one that for me is just, just wait and see what happens. It does look like, though, that, got a wick high up to, on Thursday, 8.4 cents, and then opened on Friday below that and closed well below. Got a pretty big wick high. So yeah, it seems like there's still a lot of selling pressure. I think that will probably be going away over time, though, and it'll eventually be able to inch its way up. So at this point, if you have some, I feel like it's a fine hold. It's probably going to go up more, or you're going to lose everything, one or the other. So I trimmed a little bit, so at least I walked away with like $10, $20, more than nothing. And then the rest of it is all just like hang out, chill out, wait, see what happens. I think Nikola goes down will be good. Nikola, I missed that in the chat. I'll add it here. But I'm probably going to refrain from adding more tickers just because I need to catch up on these. Nikola is one I haven't covered in a while, but yeah, it has been fading. And yeah, it just seems like it's in this downtrending channel, going from that big move down to the future. Wait a second, what happened? Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I mean, it's just in this downtrending channel. That's what I see it doing until it breaks out. Breaking out would really be like getting a close above 59 cents. Or like the lows over here, 58.2, 58.4, where the red line is. But yeah, this one might be fading a little bit. There is this gap to the downside at 52.10 cents. Is that right? Let's see where that's at. Nope, that's not a gap. It's just a low over here. So maybe it'd be forming a double bottom around 52.10 cents. That's maybe an interesting level to enter at if it seems like it's respecting it. If it's not, the 1618 following this move up, that extension is at like 45.38 cents. So I could see it going to 52.10 at least. The low here was 53, so almost there. But yeah, I think that it's, I don't know, it is up in the after hours, 1.38 cents. So yeah, something there. And let's see. PRST, let's see. PRST. I'm on it right now. Okay, so this is a penny stock. I should have included in the penny stock video. Also should have included SMX. I'll include that in a second. But yeah, just for this, with earnings coming up, big move up. I feel like it's probably going to pull back around earnings. That earnings are tomorrow. And especially with there being this gap here and this big wick to the upside, I feel like it's probably going to fill that gap. Following earnings, it's coming down to like 16.3 cents. But looking at a Fibonacci retracement from the low here at 15 cents up to the high of 25 cents. The 786 is at 17.14 cents, but I feel like that gap's probably going to get filled around 16 cents following earnings, and maybe it finds a floor there. So those are my quick thoughts on PRST, Presto, automation. Hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to make sure that's on the BNED list. Delete that here, though. Now we'll skip over to SMX. This one I didn't include in the penny stock video. It just wasn't requested in the list of like 10 that I got from WS. So thank him for that, for not including SMX, or maybe I overlooked it. But yeah, this I just see like I didn't draw this for this today or anything. I just looked at it. I see this downtrend going back to March 6th. Gotten wicks above it, only one close above, and it looks like price has broken out, maybe retesting that level. So I look for it to hold 14 cents right around there, and then maybe goes higher. This one looks really good. I know that Vincent, I think I saw on Twitter that you're bullish about it moving into the week ahead. So yeah, I mean, I think it looks pretty good. So I approve, but I am not participating. But yeah, of the penny stocks, that one and T-Up, Tupperware, look the best to me. So I have gone over TLRY, going to delete that. Thinning out the list. This is encouraging for me. I get to go to bed soon. Well, I sold my plug, but I think it just became a game changer. I think plug looks phenomenal. Check out the video if you haven't seen it. That one looks great. And so maybe there's some that were requested here. I think CEI, I'm not sure where I saw that, but yeah, Ricardo, I'm glad that was helpful for you. Hopefully Nikola could run as the meme stocks did. Yeah, I mean, I think that tomorrow is going to be interesting. Let's check what GameStop's price is right now in the overnight trading. 25.28, up 13.82%. Boys and girls, I think we're going to have another exciting week. There might be a top included in that week, but I was expecting things to be low for there to be some infighting amongst the retail crowd, because we get a little feisty with each other, and people to then sell their bags and then FOMO in at a high. Maybe that happened on Friday, though. Maybe it's already happened. But yeah, I think it's going to be another crazy week. I'm going to do some streams on Wednesday and Thursday for earnings. I think that NVIDIA has their earnings call, I believe, after hours on Thursday, and there is another earnings call. But yes, Kevin, I do see. Oh yeah, I can do CEI. I mean, I put it on the list here. Did I go over Polestar? Somebody requested Polestar from a comment, so I'll go over that at the very end. Let's see, CEI. This one. Let's see, so yeah, I mean, what I see with this is there are a number of wicks getting no closes above, like the highest close in this like consolidation range was hit on May 2nd. That was a close at a 17.84 cents. Other than that, just wicks above. No opens above even. Then we get an open above on Friday, big volume up, but price comes down. Price comes down with big volume closing below this level, right around 17.85. So that tells me that there's a cap here at 17.85 or like 18 cents. Price is struggling to get above that. And with this being down here, this to me, it just looks like this move was just like further confirmation of this being a tough level to get above. It is up. This is my problem with not looking at the after hours pricing, but it is up 3.75% in the after hours at 18 cents. And so I would look for a close on Monday above 1784. Closing above 18 would be really good. But, really like getting closes above these highs, that will suggest there's momentum, basically reclaiming highs. And right now, that it's just been rejection from those highs. But with the after hours pricing, with the meme stuff going on, I think that, I became familiar with CEI because of like the meme stock and social media. So maybe this is time for it to rally. When did they report their earnings? On the 10th, so that was 9 days ago. But yeah, I guess I'd look to see how it opens and where it closes. I would like, and for me, I guess like looking at these wick highs, I'd like to see it close above the high hit on this day, which is 1851. If it closes at 19 cents, I think that'd be really good. The high on Friday was 21 cents. I don't see that happening on Monday. But yeah, and then like I have this line here, I'm not even drawing any new levels, but this is based on the low over here. So support becomes resistance, support again here. And there's just been more consolidation above that level. It's going to be tough to get above. And so, yeah, this is getting rejected basically from below that level. If I throw up the volume profile, it's really just like been this consolidation at the bottom. So when price has been low, volume traded has been high. So it doesn't really speak too highly for it going up. But maybe with what's going on tomorrow, if there's a close above 18, ideally above 19 cents tomorrow, I think that's potentially a reversal signal that it could be going higher. But yeah, I'm going to remove that. I'm not sure if I've ever covered this for the channel. I have. So I'm going to remove that from the request list, continue to make some progress here. And I guess I've missed some of them. I know that Vincent had mentioned some of these, so I'm going to just do them alphabetically. ASTI here. There's this gap up here to the low or the close from April 9th. The low and close are right around the same, 27.50, and that is in cents. The high on Thursday was 19.8 cents. So that could be a top. Did get a pullback. So whenever you get, I think this is actually a bearish sign. You see these big candles. You see a big move up and then basically a pullback, pulling back all of those gains. I think that's not such a great sign. Volume, while it is lower on Friday than it was on Thursday, it is still elevated relative to this other volume. So maybe that is not such a great indicator. But yeah, I think that this downtrend is going to be a tough one to get above. And so that would coincide with like 21 cents right around there. So if it can get above and close above 21 cents, being down 9% in the after hours, so it's allowed, that's really only a penny difference, really, 12.42 versus 11.30. Yeah, and the low was 11.70, so it's actually lower than that. Yeah, so that doesn't look so good. It moved up and everybody just sold. Not enough buyers up here to push it higher. Not enough demand. So yeah, this ASTI, in my view, looks pretty weak. But maybe there's something else that I don't see. Like, yeah, this reminds me of Faraday, like FFIE. That was just seemed like it was bleeding. I was holding it for a month. Small position, but I could have made like $30 if I had held it for a month or two more. But yeah, this, it doesn't look too strong in my opinion. But yeah, it's on there, so I'll delete it from here. ASTS, looking at this one, closing the week with this big wick up though. If we look at this on the weekly time frame, that does look pretty good on the weekly time frame. It's not such a huge wick. Over the course of the week, over 100% up, almost 101%. There's this gap here. Volume was up really high on the day it went up here, but as it's gotten to the top, volume has pulled back. So that could be suggesting top is in, only up less than 3% in the after hours, where it was up over 12.5% during the day, hitting a high of 512. That makes me think it's got a top in. And so I'm just going to do it from this low here, 212. Oh, let's see if I can get that. Oh, dang it. Right there. Dang it. Right there. All right, and then up to 512. Come on, man. I want to get it. All right, there we go. So with that, coming back to the 786 is $2.72. Could coincide with the wick lower to fill. Actually, this gap comes down even lower because that's a close down here at $2.38. The close here was $2.39. So that's quite a bit from up here. But yeah, I mean, maybe it regains its footing around the 382. I think that would be best case scenario, right around $4. It's $3.97.4. This one looks better to me than the one I just covered. I forget the ticker name, sorry. ASTI, was it? Or ATSI? What? I'm sorry. The solar one. But yeah, this is SpaceMobile. That's pretty cool. Yeah, but yeah, and really, I think that like a 50% retracement to like 362, maybe that is like a good level for it to pull back to. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Don't have too many on it. Hopefully helpful. And then so now I'm probably just going to go over the ones that were requested prior to streaming. So here I have Fortinet, FTNT, and this, I mean, we could, I'm just thinking like draw some trend lines that could suggest there's some support, but maybe there's nothing. Is that below support there? And this just suggests further downside, so maybe that's not so encouraging. Volume profile did bounce from that volume shelf. Big picture, going back to 2022. But if I zoom in, from this recent rally up, bounced from this consolidation that we see over here. Lots of volume traded there. And it does look like there is a gap here. So I could see it getting rejected around 63.50. That would be getting up to where, all this volume was traded and fill that gap. And then maybe, it's like from there, it could maybe even get up to 66.60. Maybe that's a bad luck number. But that does look like it corresponds with the bottom of the top here. So all that volume traded up there are going to be some people who say, oh man, it's pulled back. Yeah, I mean, you got to think about it like this. Think about it from I bought up here thinking it's going back up to the top here at like 73.50, and I buy at 67. It goes up to 73.50, but then it pulls back, and I experience, I guess, 13% drop. That's not too bad. Can't get too emotional about that. But what we can do is we can get some Fibonacci retracement action going on here from the low here at 44.12, going up to the high here at 73.91. Right there, did bounce from the 50%. So I would look for it to reclaim and close above the 382. That's at 62.53. That looks good to me. But maybe it gets rejected from there, and then I could see it coming down to the, let's see, 618, which is at $55.50. There's the Pixie song, if man was 5, then the devil is 6, then God is 7. And so, up here, 66.6. This is 55.5. That is man's level. So maybe that's a good one. It does seem to correspond with this uptrend that I've drawn. So I could see this, if it gets rejected from the 382 at 62.50, I could see it pulling back to $55.50, finding support around August, maybe in July, corresponding with maybe some wicks lower to test that uptrend, given that it's approximately drawn there, finding support there, and then moving higher. That's what I would see. I feel like it's unlikely for it to retrace to the 786 because of this uptrend. So, the trend is our friend, and that trend suggests to me that price is unlikely to go much lower than it. As it did go lower than it here, that was a dip buying opportunity. This big gap down, and then it closed half of that gap, and that was following earnings. So let's see. Earnings just happened, it gapped down. Maybe that's an overreaction, but I do think $55.50 could be a good dip buying opportunity for this one. But yeah, it's a pretty cool chart, and also does have this like triple top up here. So did, seem like it's not looking too great up there. But yeah, this is on the BNED list. Surprised I covered it before. Some of them I don't remember. Polestar, got to go over Polestar. I did cover this in one of the streams from last week. I don't really have too much to add to it. I always think that they have like earnings coming up, but I checked their website and they don't. I could see a double bottom formed at 116. I think that would be a good dip buying level, but at the same time, that would be a dip buying level within this downtrend. So who's to say it's going to break out of this downtrend? It'd be in the bottom half of it. So it's like, do you want to buy when you're hoping it finds support, or do you want to buy it when it's confirmed, or that it's not going below? And so here it's like you basically have a close below the downtrend, then you get a close above. So it's like maybe that's not going to be breaking down. And this, I feel like this is kind of like the hopeful level to be buying at. Or, yeah, I don't know. It's really tough to know when that, but you do see down moves here, volume coming down a little bit, price going up, volume coming down, and then you see the surge in volume. So yeah, I'm not the best at judging that, because it's like, oh, you see the surge in volume, that's the time to buy, but then you're already buying up here. But if you even buy at the close there, that is, let's see, you just want to do price measurement. So from there to the top, that's an 18% swing, so you can't let that slip behind you, let that go by. Yeah, because that had gone from the bottom of the channel to the midpoint, continue to the top. Anyway, so I think that's a cool chart. And so I don't know what you guys are chatting about, laughing at, saying sorry. I was trimming at 35 cents, bummed as I was. So I guess you guys are chatting amongst yourselves. Let's see, what's the one that SPAC that ran to $90? CEI would be good, but you don't gotta. Oh yeah, well I already covered it, so I'm not sure if the SPAC went to $90. But I will. So hopefully covering Polestar like that was helpful. I'll go over WW really quick, and then I'll probably flip over to GameStop and see what the overnight pricing is, because there's nothing going on with AMC and overnight pricing for whatever reason. But GameStop, I think that's going to be GameStop is, I think, the leader of the meme pack, and I think that's going to be reflected in AMC, Plug, potentially FuelCell. I also think Blink charging, and maybe charging EV charging stations as well. So yeah, I think there's a lot going on there. But let's see. This has come down a lot, been consolidating. Volume looks kind of low. This looks like it's put in a higher high with the RSI, whereas it's a lower high in the stock price. So that is hidden bearish divergence. Bearish divergence is higher high in the stock price and lower high in the RSI. So it's just reverse of that. And yes, I mean, this consolidation here, yeah, I mean, it's not been able to get any closes above the last close. Yeah, like the highest close here, it's like 208, 209. This close over here was at 216. Just getting wicks up to that, getting rejected from it seems pretty weak in my opinion. At the top here, do get some good volume. then it just kind of dies off and then drop. And so it's like volume dies off a little bit, but then on this drop, volume picks up more. And then it seems like hopeful. And this is like a green day, it's going up. This is up 11% on the day, but volume's lower than when it was red. And then here, green day, but didn't really go up that much, whereas volume spiked up a bunch. There are just not enough buyers to push it higher. There's not enough buying pressure to push it higher. And so, yeah, then you see this down move. And so I guess something useful that we could do from this is a Fibonacci retracement from the low here at $1.51, going up to the high at $2.35. And so it is looking like it's lower than the 618, which is at $1.83.1. That's how it closed. It did go up a little bit in the after hours, about 1%, but it closed the after hour session at 183, which is still lower by a fraction of a penny than this 1618 level here. And yeah, let's see. My crosshairs went away. Come back, crosshairs. Yeah, I don't know why it does that sometimes. But I could see this coming down to the 786, which is at $1.69. Just doesn't look too strong. And if we do look at the volume profile, maybe it's at support. There has been a lot of volume traded at this level, so maybe people are buying the dip now. I would see what happens in the price on Monday. If it's red on Monday, I think it's probably going down. If it's green, maybe it's found a bottom with this pronouncement in the volume shelf. Really, I mean, it's closed like right at the top of all of this consolidation, so maybe that's support. But if it's red on Monday, I think it's probably going down to 169. And so, hey, Ape Father, Man Child, BNED, 24 million shares shorted Friday. The float is 34 million. What is going on with Barnes & Noble Education? That's insane. Did you see my tweet? I haven't seen it yet. I can pull it up. And let's see. I did get Mac Attack did a tweet at me about something. And so, let's see. I didn't see the tweet at me, but I did see one from Mac Attack. I think, oh, this is something that, yeah, so he's talked about BNED. I did cover it in the penny stock video, so I recommend checking that out. I'm probably going to sign off now because I got to get to bed soon. I got to wake up early for work. But there was one list that I believe Mac Attack sent me. I said, I could do a penny stock review or something, but I don't know where that's at on this. Okay, yeah, so he's been talking about BNED. I know Vincent's bullish on SMX. Looks like a good chart there. Yeah, I forget what all did he like. Yeah, let's see. Going back here. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. Here's some Kraken stuff. But yeah. Let's see. I will refresh this. Yeah, weird. I don't know if it's not loading or what now. But yeah, I'll check it, and I'll probably be doing live streams for a couple earnings calls this week. Actually, I'll check that. I'll go to the channel page, or actually, I'll just go to the source. Let's see, Earnings Whisperers. I see earnings. Let's see what the earnings are for this week, and maybe this is good for all of us to look over. Ed's in the way a little bit, so I'll make him move. Get out of here, buddy. Okay, so tomorrow before open, I don't know if any of these stand out to you guys. I'm not familiar with any of them. Really, Wix I am to some extent. Zoom after hours, maybe that's interesting. I'm working the next couple days. I have done some videos on Beam. That is a EV charging station. So maybe that's of interest. Tuesday, I think Lowe's will be an interesting one, as well as Macy's as far as like the economy's going. Xpeng. I've covered that once. It wasn't terribly popular, but I've heard some, they're much better than Neo and stuff. I've covered Neo a lot. And then other ones that day, let's see, Urban Outfitters, maybe that's a indicator for the economy. Target definitely seems like it would be one. Wednesday before market opens. Petco, woof. I did get that in the live stream. So maybe I'd want to cover Petco Wednesday morning. Target, I feel like, is an interesting one as far as the economy goes, what people are spending money on. But Nvidia, I think that will be really cool, just semiconductors, because I am short them. So I'd like to learn more about them. Thursday, I don't know if any of these stand out to you, but Polestar. But I don't know that I see anything on their website. Let's look up Polestar Investor Relations. Polestar Investor Relations. So do they have something coming up? Latest event. Yeah, so I feel like I never am able to find their earnings reports on their website. Like I've streamed what I thought was like an earnings report, was really just a like a financial update. So maybe I do that, but maybe not. Let's see. Workday, maybe that's of interest, but yeah, I'll probably just do Nvidia and maybe Petco and maybe Polestar if they have something. But other than that, I might just focus on making more videos because I've kind of fallen behind on that arena. But yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully this has been a useful stream. And no, yeah, well, I don't know. It should be there. I will check it. And oh yes, before I close the stream, I've got to just look at the GameStop chart, even though, looking at after hours or overnight, it's not on the chart here, but looking at it on Robinhood, the overnight trading, it's up over 11%, 24.67%. I think we're going to have another pretty wild week. It might include a top in it, but it also might include higher highs as far as these rallies go. So it's going to be an exciting one. But yeah, on that note, I'm going to bring Ed back so we can say our goodbyes together. But yeah, if you do enjoy the content, make sure you like it. Share your thoughts always in the comments down below or in the live chat. Happy to get your feedback. Also on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I'm fairly active there, but usually I am just posting stuff regarding videos. So nothing too crazy, but I do get a lot of tips on things that are trending, cool stocks to cover. And so Ape Father, I will check to see your what you sent me. I don't usually look at Twitter on my computer, so maybe there's a lag there or something. I'm not sure. And then also there is a Discord, which if you can't find it, I try to put it in the descriptions of videos. It's probably not in this live stream, and I'll try to add timestamps before I go to bed. But since this is almost 2 hours long, I might have a tough time doing that, but I'll try to get to it. But anyways, I hope you all have a great rest of your night, a good start to Monday in the week, and I feel like it's going to be an exciting one, so I'm looking forward to it. And I will be streaming for Friday's close. Hopefully, I requested to take the afternoon off, so we'll see about that. But yeah, thanks a lot for hanging out. Have a great start to the week. Take care, you guys.